I stared at the text message on my phone for the third time, each reading making the words sting more sharply. Jessica, we've decided to keep the anniversary celebration intimate this year. We want successful children only at this milestone event. We know you'll understand. 25 years of marriage and I wasn't invited to celebrate with them because I wasn't successful enough. I set my phone down on my desk and looked around my small home office, taking in the second-hand furniture and the stack of bills that seemed to grow every week. From my parents' perspective, I understood their disappointment. My older brother Michael was a cardiac surgeon, my sister Lisa was a partner at a prestigious law firm, and here I was at 30 running a small online business from my spare bedroom. While they lived in impressive houses and drove luxury cars, I shopped at thrift stores and drove a 10-year-old Honda. The text had arrived right after Mom called to complain about their latest attempt to buy the lake house they'd been dreaming about for over a decade. Every year they saved money toward purchasing the beautiful property on Lake Morrison, and every year someone with more cash beat them to it. It's so frustrating, Mom had said during that call. We've been saving for 15 years and we finally have enough for a decent down payment, but these rich people keep swooping in with cash offers. The realtor says someone will probably buy it within the week. 45 minutes later, she'd sent the text uninviting me from their silver anniversary party. I picked up my phone and called the number I'd memorized from my parents' constant discussions about their dream house. Morrison Realty, this is Brian speaking. Hi Brian, this is Jessica Chin. I'm interested in the lake house at 1247 Shoreline Drive. Oh, that's a beautiful property. Are you looking to schedule a viewing? Actually, I'd like to make an offer. Full asking price, cash, closing in 7 days. There was a pause. I'm sorry, did you say cash? The asking price is $1.2 million. Yes, cash. I can have certified funds transferred to your escrow account by end of business today. Miss Chin, that's an exceptional offer. Can I ask how you learned about the property? It's not officially listed yet. Word of mouth. Is the offer acceptable to the sellers? I'll need to contact them immediately, but yes, I'm confident they'll accept. Cash offers are extremely attractive in this market. After ending the call, I opened my laptop and logged into my business banking account. Pacific Renewable Solutions showed a current balance of $8.4 million across various accounts. The $1.2 million for the house would barely make a dent. Most people assumed my little online business was something like selling crafts on Etsy. What they didn't know was that I'd spent the past 8 years building a company that designed and installed solar energy systems for commercial properties. While my family focused on traditional markers of success, degrees, titles, expensive possessions, I'd quietly built a business that was revolutionizing how companies approached renewable energy. The success had come gradually, starting with small residential installations, then moving to larger commercial projects. Last year, Pacific Renewable Solutions had secured contracts with 3 major hospital systems and 2 university campuses. This year we were on track to break $15 million in revenue. But I lived modestly. I worked from home, drove an efficient car and reinvested most of my profits back into the business. My family saw the modest lifestyle and assumed modest success. They never asked about my actual revenue, my client list, or my long-term plans. 2 hours later, Brian called back. Miss Chin, the sellers have accepted your offer. They're thrilled, actually. They were expecting a lengthy process with financing contingencies, but a cash sale makes everything much simpler. Excellent. I'll have my attorney handle the paperwork. Can I ask what you plan to do with the property? The sellers are curious about who's buying their family home. I plan to use it as a retreat space for my employees. Team building, corporate planning sessions, that sort of thing. That sounds wonderful. The house is perfect for entertaining. Oh, and Ms. Chin? The sellers mentioned they've had several interested parties over the years. Apparently, a local couple has been trying to buy it for quite some time. The husband actually called this morning asking if we'd received any offers. I smiled, knowing exactly which local couple Brian meant. That's nice that they were interested. Yes, they seemed quite invested in the property. Anyway, congratulations on your purchase. I'll send over the closing documents this afternoon. That evening my phone rang. Dad's number appeared on the screen. Hi Dad. Jessica. Honey, I know things were awkward with your mother's text today, but I wanted to call and explain. You don't need to explain, Dad. I understand. No, I don't think you do. Your mother and I, we're worried about you. Michael has his medical practice, Lisa just made partner, and you're still working from home on that computer business. We want all our children to be represented at the anniversary, but we also want to project a certain image to our friends. A certain image? Successful families raise successful children. It's a reflection of the parents as much as the kids. I was quiet for a moment, processing his honesty. So you're embarrassed by me? We're not embarrassed, sweetheart. We're concerned. You're 30 years old with no steady job, no husband, no house. Your mother and I stay awake at night worrying about your future. What if I told you I'm happy with my life? Happiness doesn't pay for retirement, Jessica. Happiness doesn't cover medical emergencies. You need security, stability, a real career. After we hung up, I sat in my home office, looking at the contracts Brian had emailed for the lake house purchase. In 3 days, I'd owned the property my parents had been dreaming about for 15 years. The irony wasn't lost on me. The next morning, I drove to the lake house to do a final walkthrough before closing. The property was everything my parents had described: a stunning craftsman-style home with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the water, a wraparound deck perfect for entertaining, and a boathouse that had been converted into a charming guest suite. As I stood on the deck, imagining corporate retreats and team-building exercises, I heard voices from the neighboring property. A couple was walking along the shoreline, the woman pointing toward my new house. "It's probably another tech millionaire," the woman was saying. "These people come in with cash and buy everything, driving up prices for families who've lived here for generations." I recognized the voices. My parents lived in the neighborhood and often walked along the public shoreline. They'd probably been taking their usual morning walk when they saw activity at the house. "I just don't understand how someone Jessica's age can't get her life together," Mom continued, apparently transitioning from complaining about house prices to complaining about me. Lisa was making 6 figures by age 28. Michael had already bought his first house by 25. "She's trying, Patricia," Dad replied. "That computer thing she does might eventually turn into something." "Computer thing," I murmured to myself. 8 years, millions in revenue, and it was still a computer thing. My phone rang. "Brian from Morrison Realty. Miss Chin, I wanted to give you a heads up. The previous owners received a call this morning from someone asking if the house was still available. When I explained it was already sold, they became quite agitated and demanded to know who the buyer was." "Did you tell them?" "Not yet. I wanted to check with you first. Some buyers prefer privacy, especially in higher-end transactions." I thought about it for a moment. "You can share my name if they ask directly." "Understood. Oh, and Miss Chin? I have other clients interested in similar properties if you're looking to expand your corporate retreat portfolio." "I might be. Let me see how this property works out first." 3 days later, the closing went smoothly. I signed the paperwork, transferred the funds, and received the keys to a $1.2 million lake house. My parents still had no idea I'd bought their dream home. That afternoon my phone rang. Mom's number. "Jessica, I have news about the lake house." "Oh. Someone bought it. Full cash offer, closed in 3 days. Can you believe that? That's fast. The realtor called to let us know since we'd expressed interest. We asked who bought it and you'll never guess what he said." I waited, curious to hear Brian's exact words. He said the buyer was a young entrepreneur who runs a renewable energy company. "Jessica, this person is probably your age and just bought $1 million house with cash. That's impressive. It made me think about what your father and I discussed yesterday. Maybe we've been too narrow in how we define success. This person built a business that's obviously thriving, even if it's not a traditional career path." I smiled, appreciating the unintentional life lesson. "That's a good point, Mom. Anyway, I called because I've been feeling guilty about the anniversary invitation. Maybe we were too harsh." "It's okay, Mom." "No, it's not. You're our daughter and we should celebrate having you in our lives, regardless of your career situation. Would you consider joining us for the anniversary dinner after all?" I looked out my home office window toward the lake, where I could see my new property gleaming in the afternoon sunlight. "I'd love to come to dinner, Mom. Actually, I have some news to share with the family." "Oh. Good news, I hope." "I think so. I've been keeping something from you and Dad, and it's time you knew the truth about my business." "What do you mean?" I mean, Pacific Renewable Solutions isn't a hobby or a small side business. It's a company that did $12 million in revenue last year and employs 43 people across 6 states. Silence on the other end of the phone. Mom. Jessica, are you saying you make $12 million a year? The company generates $12 million in revenue. My personal income is about $2.8 million annually, plus equity in the business. I heard the phone clatter, then Dad's voice. Patricia? Patricia, are you okay? Dad, it's Jessica. Mom dropped the phone. Jessica? What happened? I was telling her about my business. The renewable energy company I run. What about it? It's not a small computer business, Dad. Pacific Renewable Solutions is one of the fastest-growing commercial solar installation companies on the West Coast. We handle major corporate contracts, university systems, hospital complexes. Jessica, what are you saying? I'm saying I'm successful by any measure you want to use. I just don't display wealth the way Michael and Lisa do. Another pause. Then, how successful? Successful enough to have bought the lake house at 1247 Shoreline Drive yesterday. That's not possible. Brian Morrison has the paperwork. I'm the cash buyer who closed in 3 days. You bought the lake house? I bought the lake house. I heard him talking to Mom in the background, explaining what I'd just told him. Then Mom's voice came back on the line. Jessica, honey, I don't understand. If you're this successful, why do you live so modestly? Because I value financial security over status symbols. I reinvest profits into growing the business and building long-term wealth rather than spending on luxury items. But why didn't you tell us? I tried to repeatedly. But every time I mentioned my business, you called it my computer thing, or asked when I was going to get a real job. It became clear that you weren't interested in understanding what I was building. Dad cleared his throat. Jessica, we owe you an enormous apology. You owe me nothing, Dad. But I'd like to invite you and Mom to the anniversary dinner at my new lake house. I think it's time you saw what I've actually accomplished. Your lake house. My lake house. The one you've been dreaming about for 15 years. I bought it because I wanted a corporate retreat space, but also because I knew how much it meant to you. Mom started crying. Oh, sweetheart, we've been such fools. You've been parents who want the best for your daughter. But maybe it's time to trust that I know what's best for my life. The anniversary dinner took place the following Saturday in the lake house's stunning dining room. Michael and Lisa arrived with their usual array of expensive accessories and designer clothes, clearly prepared to continue treating me as the family's underachiever. Nice place, Michael said, looking around the elegant interior. Who owns this? I do, I replied simply. Lisa laughed. Very funny, Jess. Seriously, whose house is this? Mom and Dad exchanged glances. It's Jessica's house, Mom said. She bought it this week. With what money? Lisa asked skeptically. With money from Pacific Renewable Solutions, I explained. My renewable energy company that generated $12 million in revenue last year. The evening that followed was educational for everyone. Michael and Lisa learned that their unsuccessful sister had built a business empire while they'd been focused on traditional career paths. Mom and Dad learned that success comes in many forms, and that their daughter had been thriving while they worried about her future. As we sat on the deck after dinner watching the sunset over the lake, Dad raised his wine glass. To 25 years of marriage, he said. And to learning that success isn't always what it appears to be. To family, I added. And to understanding each other better. As the evening wound down and my family prepared to leave, Mom pulled me aside. Jessica, can you forgive us for not seeing you clearly? There's nothing to forgive, Mom. But going forward, maybe ask about my business instead of assuming you know what it is. Deal. And honey, thank you for buying the lake house. Knowing you own it makes it even more special. I smiled, looking out at the water that would soon host corporate retreats and family gatherings alike. Sometimes the best investment isn't just financial. It's the investment in showing people who you really are.